is up, guys? It's your boy GRC. We're coming at you live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. How's my lighting? There she goes. Guys, we got a lot to talk about today. I want biceps in the chat immediately. Thank you. All right, let me just think for a second. We got a lot to talk about today. What's the title? Leadership, Emotional Resilience, and Discipline. Sam STOLT GRC 101. How to win in a bear market every time. How do you win in a bear market every time? You make it so everything benefits you. Everything. And if the money's not benefiting you, you're scooping in so much knowledge, so much information that stuff works for you long term. Okay? Remember when the bear market started, I said, I'm going to learn about liquidity providing. Now people hit me up and pay me money to talk about liquidity providing. How did I didn't lose. I won that. I won that battle, right? So as we move forward in crypto, we are going to pay extra attention to the detail, not as much attention to the price chart because we can't control the price charts. We're going to pay attention to what we can control and what we can do and how we can change things. And I'm actually going to give you, there's a lot of alpha male leaders within, the YouTube, the Andrew Tates, he's in the thumbnail, all the guys. There's some things they do early on that I think impedes their future success, believe it or not, early on. Because remember, reputation is king. And you can keep a clean reputation and get things the way you want them, okay? So that's what we're talking about today for the most part, but this is a crypto show. Don't you get it twisted. So I'm going to talk for just a couple minutes here. Hold on. And how's the audio? How's everything going? And how's everyone in the chat? Let's get it going. So let's talk about a little bit of deck screener before we get Sam STOLT in here. Okay. You guys know this is my list. These are the coins that I hold, basically. So what do we have here at the top? We have BNB. And BNB, one is tied to BUSD, one is tied to USDT. Now we saw, guys, I know Sam might not have saw this, but $5 billion moved out of the BUSD pool net for the last month. So BUSD lost the altcoin battle last month. For whatever reason, I can't tell you the exact reasons these things occur, but BUSD took a huge hit on the books, and USDT just went the other direction with it. You know what I mean? So it kind of sloshed into the other asset. What's going on behind the scenes? I don't know, guys, but we pay attention to those things when big money like that's changed around. Imagine if you have 700 grand in BUSD, information you would like to know, certainly. And then let's go in, guys, another tip from me to you, Binance and ETH. You'll see them right here, BUSD and ETH. Guys, you're not going to notice these two coins getting too off track from the ratio it's at right about now. Yeah, it can change a little bit dramatically, 20% in each position, but truthfully, these assets are bound together because people trade between them. I trade between ETH and Binance all the time. It only takes one click. So again, remember, there's arbitrage between this, but look at the liquidity, Sam. We're talking 975 million in liquidity in BUSD, and that was a lot higher. I'll tell you, 156.4 million in liquidity on BUSD, 124.1 million. That's a lot of liquidity, guys. These are real dollar bills. $205.4 million in liquidity in that ETH USDC pair. ETH is going insane. No one can stop this thing. No one can put pressure on it. Where's the pressure? Why is there no pressure? This is a bear market. Look at this chart. This is a 15-minute candle chart. And as you can see, when someone wants to get their bag, everyone accepts it. Yep, this is where we are now. Oh, yep, this is where we are now. Because the staking feature, the burn, the safety, there's a lot of things going for ETH right now, in my opinion, And I'm just really vibing with it. Now, guys, fan favorite coming up hot, Hex USDC. What do we see? And I've been looking at this baby for a long, long time, and I have not seen a scoop that's sharp. I'm not talking about the price. That's about a 65 to 70% move, I think. But it's the direction. It's that bounce right off the resistance. No audio? Is there really no audio? Yeah, there's audio. How dare you? Good morning, everybody. Anyway, very sharp scoop, which I noticed. And Sam, guess what I did? I looked at these wallets right here. I went in and I checked them out. Guess what? They're big boys. They're big boys. They don't need the money. Sam, they don't need the money. They're buying because it's a good opportunity for long-term wealth, I believe. But that doesn't mean that the floor is in. Doesn't mean anything. Those guys really probably don't even care if it had downside. So guys, remember, $1 million added to that liquidity pool yesterday from buys and sells. Let's look at how that occurred. 38 buys. Oh, hold on. Let me go back. So Hex. Transactions in the last 24 hours, 699. Me and Sam were checking this out a couple weeks ago. We were down in the 250s. So we're about doubling that transaction. And we're seeing a nice little pumpy poo. But what do I know? Hex conference, a little bit of, guys, it has to be, the floor has to be somewhere. And I bought this level a year and 8 months ago. Remember that. A year and 8 months ago, I bought this exact level right here. I don't know exactly 8 months ago. It was day 501. So interesting to note, a very key resistance point there. And then I want to shed some light before we get Sam on of Zen, the dumper token, right? It's the dumper token. Why? Sam, I'm going to talk about this for just a minute, and then we're going to transition on. It's the dumper token because somebody decided, Sam, this is legit. Somebody decided all the way up here to put in the first pair. So guys, why is the price chart painted? Because someone interjects a pair into the liquidity pool. There's no volume, certainly. But Sam, in a perfect world, someone could have taken control of this, even myself. Interjected liquidity at the proper range and had a price chart. So for all you builders, all you learners, if you're going to launch something, maybe think about the first couple liquidity providing decisions, but maybe that's against the rules. I don't know. So I'm just saying, guys, if you took the exact cost for a mint and so right now, let's say it costs $4 to do a mint and you get 7 million in 441 days. Let's say that. So we'll take 7 million and divide it by the $3. That's what the real floor is for Zen, which is probably 3 zeros lower than it is right now. But then you have crypto speculation, everything else. So those are my thoughts for the day, guys. I'm bullish on all these products. That's the reason I talk about them, by the way. Long term, I'm excited for Pulsechain. I'm excited to see if there's any updates on that. I'm not looking like I don't need it. I just want it. All right. So let's get it going. Crypto in the mornings, every day at 11 a.m. Eastern. We got Sam in the house and we're ready to party. And we're going to talk about discipline, leadership, and making it happen, baby.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stay. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
what a good topic to talk about today, right? Like, what a good topic. This is something that keeps boiling up over and over again. And it's like, it really came to light, I think, in 2016. It's been constant, right? But if you want to point to a specific time frame, because that's what we like to do, even though it's been perpetually growing throughout society, talking about emotional intelligence, talking about being a leader. I think what really brought it to the light was 2016 and Trump coming into office, because that a lot of people.
That's such a good point. I didn't think of the timing there.
Right, but it was growing. The tide.
No, but that's when my teachers were teaching me. The guys that were in my position right now, 28 years old, working. They were getting inspired by that, and whether that was right or wrong or sideways or whatever, it started to bring out this. Okay, alpha males are allowed to be around again, and then because you don't know when you're little, you're just like, what's up? Like, you don't know if you're supposed to be good, bad, punch someone, not punch someone. Like, you try to figure it all out. Then someone stands up and say, no, boy, you do this.
And how long has it been since society as a whole actually had an alpha around that would speak their mind, right? When you're younger and you're like, yeah, I'm the fucking shit. People talk shit about you. They tell you to, no, you're not. They try to tear you down. They try to say you're not.
No encouragement.
Perpetually. And then,
dude, I've talked about that my whole life, and everyone's just like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I motivate everyone all the time. And I just remember no. And it could have been like the way you think about it. But at the end of the day, nobody was telling me I was going to be a superstar or good at anything.
Right?
They won't admit it once it happens. They'll say, yeah, but it's not necessarily talking about my family as much as like the general ethos is like, go to work. You're not special. You're a piece of dirt.
And when we had Trump elected in 2016, there's that was like another blast, right? So you have these time periods. If you look at the price chart of Hex, say for example, it's like creeping along up and down, like gradually going up and down. And then you have certain events that take place, and growth might be accelerated for a period of time before it starts to like, peter out or change at a different rate. Well, if you looked at what happened around the awakening of the like role model of a man, it has really started to accelerate in 2016, where more people would actually stand up and be like, yeah, I resonate with that. And that has continued to accelerate.
That was my whole entire youth.
Up until 2016, I literally didn't give two Fs about election, anybody in government at all, even slightly, because I knew it was just all garbage. You don't pay attention to it.
I was too young to even care. I was still in the weeds, like trying to get girls. Like, I just didn't like, it wasn't even on the radar.
Correct.
And then when somebody was like, life is very interesting, and you need to do what you're good at, and you need to do what God put you on this earth to do. And it's not as hard to figure out, but with all the bullshit in the way, it certainly can be hard. And as a man, you need to isolate yourself. Not from opinions, isolate yourself from other people. You know how many years I've spent isolated in my room by myself? And I enjoyed every second of it. I was watching a Mike Tyson interview yesterday, and he said, best 3 years of my life were when I was in prison. I couldn't find peace otherwise. And that's just his, he's a crazy guy. But he said he couldn't find peace. And he said, I'll never give anything back for the peace. And he's so right. When you're fighting against the will of the world, it's impossible to breathe.
I was in New York City, and there's a lot of people in New York City, right? And I had a girlfriend there, and I also worked at a gym in New York City, and I did several other things, and I got a job in Hawaii. So I just up and left, right? Girlfriend and I broke up. She didn't want to move, and I didn't know anybody in Hawaii. And you're talking about being alone, right? And I move out to Hawaii absolutely by myself. Like nobody out there or anything like that. But it was such a glorious time for personal growth.
Dude, And there's something inside of all of us guys that loves brutal isolation, because sometimes the options are what gets guys like, oh, I could go date or like run around.
I'm soft.
Well, you get soft, but you don't realize that you're missing the point. You know, it's just distractions. You don't get distracted. I lived in a halfway house for 3 years in a bunk bed with 4 people that I didn't want to, you know, they weren't my besties. Believe it or not. They were cool though. They were cool. They had a lot of life experience, but I was on that top bunk. And you had to graduate to each bunk. So until you end up like in your own room eventually, like after years. And then I remember looking back and saying there was no better time in my life than that. There was no better time. I would have never been able to experience the pain and the suffering. My girl left me.
What were you doing for income at that time?
I was working at Jimmy John's on a bicycle.
So you'd ride to work.
I didn't have a license because I got in trouble.
And then you'd ride your bike to Jimmy John's. Is that a restaurant?
It's a sub place, and there's midshipmen down. That's where the Navy House is. Big where all the kids go to school with the uniforms and shit. So they would all come to the Jimmy John's, and I knew that if you just rode the bike to the gate, you could get them all at once because they don't have cars either. They just come to the gate of their university, and I could just hoard with the bicycle. So I basically found out how to make like $30 an hour or something. But I only worked like 5 or 6 hours a day, but I had no car. But I was also 19. I remember riding my bike smiling ear to ear, because there was no one left to tell me that I was fucking up. I already fucked up. I was just vibing. I was alive. I felt alive.
Were you out partying in the other hours of the day, even though
Hell no, I was in a sober house. I was sober for 6 years straight.
So what would you do? Go back to the house for the rest of the time?
I went to AA meetings. You had to, one per day.
So you'd go to AA in the morning and in the evening? I remember you telling me that.
I liked it too. So if my friends were there, I surely. But again, like I don't necessarily do that anymore. I was also speaking, going to rehabs. Like I was a public speaker to a degree in AA for a while because I was young and I could talk and people wanted to hear a good story. So I did that. I probably spoke at like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of AA meetings, rehabs all around the world. Right. And I was happy about it. But again, it didn't have all the answers to my life that I was looking for at the time. But it did step me up a lot in the spiritual sense, the ego sense. I was helping others and I learned that if you just dump everything into everyone else, you get everything in return back times 10. And that's where I learned that. That's why I'm not looking for, well, everyone has different financial situation. But that's why I'm not just trying to dig up gold. I could just Patreon everyone for $500, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to do it smart and do it right and do it clear. And I'm trying to provide more value to those around me than I'm getting in return. And I think it's just something you learn in that environment when you're stone cold sober, trying to figure out how to get happy again.
That's a perfect tie-in with the title of the video on how to win in a bear market. Because people have the belief that like bear market is in relation to the financial, like well-being of their portfolio, but it's also, you have bull and you have bear markets in your own life. And when you go through those times where you have the bull markets, right, everything is cool and copacetic and you're making progress in a bunch of areas in your life and you're happy and you're excited and all that, but you also have bear markets in your personal life, right, where things are not going well. You effed up, right? You're in a halfway house for 3.5 years, right? And you're doing all those things. But those are those times where you get to build your emotional intelligence. You get to build yourself. When I moved to Hawaii, I moved out there twice. One of the times I moved out to Hawaii, I get out there and I'm living in Honolulu, beautiful place, right up in a valley. I came up, there's this big ass hill that you go up. It's probably like a half a mile long. It's the same road that Punahou High School is on. It's where Obama went to school there. And I lived like a street or two behind that. Beautiful little place there. There's a mango tree and like a star fruit tree outside. And I didn't have the money to do anything. It was this tiny little, like tiny little place there. Maybe like 300 square feet. And I didn't have money to do anything. And I worked on Pearl Harbor, which was about 11.5 miles away. I had a single speed.
What were you doing?
I was working for the military.
Oh, cool. So you actually were working for the military on Pearl Harbor. You weren't just around there. Oh,
Correct.
that's pretty interesting. Cool. And how old were you roughly?
In my 20s. I don't know how old I was in my 20s, but I would literally ride my bike.
My age-ish.
I'd ride, yeah, probably a little younger than you.
Younger, yeah.
And I'd ride my bicycle 11 or 12 miles per day to get to work. And it was a single speed. So if you know anything about bikes, like today you have 26 different gears or 28 different gears or whatever on a bike. This had one gear. And Hawaii has mountains and hills. So you have one gear to go up and down all these hills and those things. And so many times it would be pouring rain. I'd have to put my work clothes inside of a bag and then inside of another bag and then inside of my backpack just so they would be dry because it would be downpouring. I'd be riding in the rain and I'm like, fuck, right? Like I just need to get this thing done. But it's those moments in time where you have those bear markets in your life. That's where you can learn. Those are the golden opportunities.
Yes. And especially when you're young, you can have a chance. After you're 30, you got to make some little decisions different because you could also have heart issues. You could have anything at that. Well, I don't want to say everyone at 30, but I'm saying real life starts to hit you at 30 too. Like you ain't nothing going to happen to you before then, unless you're getting a knife fight or something, of course. So guys, I'll be giving 10 BNBP from a wallet away. If you retweet this tweet and comment, like, and retweet to enter. So comment, like, retweet to enter, and I'll give it away at the end of the show. Well, I'll pick the one at the end of the show, and then my other computer. But I've given away 10 BNBP probably 5 or 6 times now, and everyone's enjoyed it. Price, well, it's a low price right now, so don't have to worry. But everyone's just for a little bit of fun, a little bit of keeping it fresh, keeping it moving. I really do like giving away, especially coins
that's $40, guys. $40 for just hitting a retweet and a like. $40, over $40 for free.
I'm at 1,500 on the giveaway so far with the BNBP, but again, the price was a lot different sometimes when I was giving it away. I gave some away. I give $500 away. I gave 25 at $25. Or like $23. And I remember being like, damn. And then I was like, it's so bad. But anyway, guys, make sure you retweet that and we're going to get right back into it. We got way more to cover on this. Sam, I wanted to talk about employment for a second and the myth that is employment. It's a myth. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. When I woke up this morning, I went for a walk around my neighborhood. Right? And I watched everyone get ready. I watched everyone skirt out of their houses. I watched everyone stop at the coffee shop, pretending like they're busy, pretending like something's going on. And I guarantee they haven't done jackass yet today. And it's basically I just think employment is turning into a mirage. A mirage. I can make $1,000 in a day by speaking my heart and my truth to other men or whatever. And that's more valuable than anything I was doing in the meantime, wasting all my energy. I did not realize about energy. I thought humans had forever energy. No. I don't even work out the way I used to because it was I was throwing up 200-pound dummies like it was nothing. And I realized I was falling asleep at 6 p.m. My body was under stress, but I couldn't stop. So I changed more calisthenics, lighter weight now. Changed my life completely. Blood pressure, everything. So Sam, I just wanted to say, I had quit my job a year or whatever ago. You quit your job probably 10 years ago or something. And ever since then, you've worked harder than you've ever have, I'm sure, right? As has I. I've never been more productive in the history of my life than I am in the last 200 days. And I've never made less money, probably. And since Jimmy John's, it was probably like neck and neck. But so Sam, employment, I want you to go into it. You escaped the rat race. You have your freedom in your time and your energy to yourself. You could quit everything you were doing right now and pivot onto something else. You could do anything you wanted. You have the keys to your freedom. And I want you to talk about employment, freedom, and a lot of the problems that young men and people get into that in your experience.
When I was finishing up high school, I was homeschooled, right? So I didn't understand like a lot of the social things that other people in school would understand, or just, and not necessarily how to talk to somebody, because that was always fun and interesting to me, but the garbage and propaganda that people were taught in school, I didn't get that. And I thought that it was a bad thing that I didn't get that. Right. And so I started working when I was 15. And since the age of 15, after I finished school, every year to 2 years, right? I'm 38 years old. So this happened since I was about 18, 17, 18. I've had 2 jobs, and every year to 2 years, I'd be changing jobs. I have worked more jobs and a variety of jobs than probably the vast majority of people who have been watching this, because I was looking for something outside of myself. I was looking for something outside of myself. And then 3 years ago, I'm working in banking, making 6 figures, making good money. It's stupid easy, right? Stupid easy. And it's not satisfying at all whatsoever, in my opinion, right? The money is fine. Like, I don't do diddly squat. I get paid fucking good money. And it's like, okay, cool. I leave for an hour and a half on lunch and come back and close your shop up, and all my employees do all my work. Like, it was super easy. One of the easiest jobs I've had for the amount of effort that I put into it. And I quit working. There. And to go do my own thing. I went from making 6 figures to making nothing.
Yeah,
I was making 100
I was just about 6 figures to nothing too, about a year and a half ago. So I know the feeling too. But continue, please. This is everyone's enjoying your story.
And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know where I was going to go or anything. But I knew this was 3 years ago, 2019. It was December of 2019 is when I quit. Right before the pandemic and everything. Right. So like, I was 35 at that time. And after you see job after job after job after job after job after job for nearly 20 years, right? I've always had 1 to 2 jobs, sometimes 3 different jobs working. And every year to 2 years, I'd be changing those up. That's why I've lived in so many different states. What I decided was that thing that I was looking for outside of me is actually inside of me, and I need to embrace that. I need to do this. I need to change and find that thing that I was passionate about, because I was looking for something that I could just bite onto and just hold on to, right? That I was going to continue putting in the work and the effort to be successful. Because in any job that I had, it was easy to win. It wasn't competition. Like, I could destroy any of the sales jobs that I had, number one, easily. That wasn't the issue.
You're just eating time. Yeah, you're eating time. No scale for you, just money for you. No scale for you. Well, scaling is everything. Scaling is everything now. And it's always been to a degree, but now everything's global. Sam, right now the stock market is closed. And to me, obviously everyone knows that, but to me, that is one of the craziest things in the world.
In the bank.
No, I tried to bring some cash to the bank, and it was closed. And I was like, well, now I'm going to be confused for 2 days, but whatever. But anyway, so Sam, the guys like me have never even had, I don't even know what a non-open market 24/7 global is. I was like, are you serious? The fucking stock market closes on the weekends? Oh, they're wrecked. They're done. They're over. It's over for them. I always forget that they're closed.
So remember what I was saying a couple days ago about the stock market dying, right?
Look at this real quick.
Hell yeah.
I just did my first ever retweet.
That's big time. You know what GRC did for the first time in the last 12 months? FOMO-phobic.
Email.
He sent an email for the first time ever. And he's 28 years old. So
not ever in school, I probably had to say little shit, but as an adult, for a reason personal, never. Never. I sent a picture.
I
of
find
it.
that's just crazy to me. I don't know. I don't know how.
I know, but it should open your mind in a way too. It's like I will, because I'll probably be successful in my own way as I go.
No, I don't have zero doubt.
No, but just think about it. I never even would know to use that as a tool if I didn't talk. Like, I just
okay, so you know your point about the stock market being closed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and how you said like that's BS, right? Effectively. Okay.
It's just like, what?
Okay, so now add that insight to what I was saying yesterday or 2 days ago. All of the money is flowing into crypto. So what's going to happen with equities, which is stocks? They have to go away. The form factor has to change because all that's going to go away, bro. All of it's going to go away in the stock market. That has to go away. Whether it's in 12 months or 48 months or 72 months, I don't know. But everything is switching to crypto.
Dude, imagine waking up and just being like, I know those other guys are doing stuff while the stock market's closed. Like, come on, I ain't stupid. They're closed. Who's up? Who's open? Someone's open. Someone's doing something. And that's why transparent ledger is so critical. And that's why they don't want it. And that's why they're just going to get so smoked because they just set up the rules for failure. They didn't whoever set that first and said, we're going to close at 8 p.m., whether it's 1920 probably or whatever, like Racked made a mistake, Bob. You shouldn't have done that. You should have made it 24/7. And then they should have kept up with the tech and made transparent ledger, but they didn't. And now they're going to get dominated by Ethereum. They're going to get dominated by Binance. They're going to get dominated by Pulsechain, stuff like this. Like, it's just, okay, well, now I did a consultation at this hour. What is the dude going to pay me via bank? And then what am I going to do with it? Send it to my crypto account. Duh. Like, no, I'm not. What am I going to keep it in the bank so on Sunday I can't get my money or whatever? What if I want to pay some, people pay me in crypto now. My whole life is changing. Everything's changing. And it's because I adopted the tools that were in play at the moment. And me and Sam's always been doing that. I've always been doing it to a degree, but crypto's just a smack to the face, Sam. It's like transparent ledger, 24/7 instant trades for free. Oh, super sticker, Dr. V Ray. I still got to read your white paper. Just chill. I'm sorry. I got so many people sending me documents per day now that it's insane. But
it's actually a good thing because if the GRC will actually go through and get to your message, where there's a decent chance that I will never see anybody's message.
Well, I've talked to Dr. V Ray before, and I got communication with some of my boys. I invite them all to the StreamYards and stuff. The guys that are cool with the chat, we get to chatting. We're building an army here. Crypto in the Morning. Off ramp here isn't too bad. It's maybe 20-ish hours. Great to see everyone in the chat. And if you're in here and you didn't know, we're doing a 10 BNBP giveaway at the end of the show. If you retweet, like, and comment this tweet right here, and I do this every once in a while just to keep it spicy. So, Sam, we talked about employment and the fact that if you're not working for yourself, if you don't think you're only working for yourself, you're delusional. Like, in my opinion, like you are only working for yourself. No one else is working for you. So really, you're really just tricking yourself, if you want me to be quite honest, because those guys will cut you, not with a knife, you know what I mean? Cut you from the crew, ditch on you. I heard, what's that big bank that just dumped all their employees? Whatever it is. T-Row. No, not T-Row.
TD?
Anyway, yeah. Yes. So anyway, dumping all their employees, and they all paid $400,000 for school, and they're all wrecked, and none of them know about crypto, and they're all scared of crypto, and they're all scared of everything, and they don't know about ChatGPT, and they don't know about how scaling a business is the only thing you can do. They don't know about AI. So guys, when it comes to employment, you know what your employment is. Figure out what's going the fuck on. That would be good employment. Wake up and figure it out what's going on and then teach people. I'm not smarter than anyone else in this chat. I just have a will to win. And I won't stop because it's stimulating to me and I enjoy it. But I'm not doing this for my ego. People have not figured out that I'm not doing this for my ego at this point. It's crazy. I hadn't worked out as much. It's not about that right now.
It's about changing the world. And if you can do that a little bit, I suggest you start doing that, because that's what God wants you to do. Or you know what I mean when I say that. I don't mean anything super specific. But I think God wants you to change the world too. And he wants you to help everyone around them. And then you will be rewarded with everything you need, because that's how value works.
If you have to define what like life is, or like what's the strive of life, what is it that somebody should that you can apply to everybody? You want to be able to apply
Motivate others. Motivate
it.
others. That's the one. That's the answer for that for me.
And how? But you can't create. How do you create motivation in somebody else?
You smile ear to ear, and you seem appreciative when they're talking to you, and you invite them to something that they think would be amazing for them. Like, just for an example, I was talking to this guy, Green Day Power Show, or Green Day Crypto Show, and I knew he was a big fan of Jack, and Jack's a friend of mine, so I invited Jack into the stream, and he had a really powerful moment, I'm sure, just like I would have if it was my first time. But we were just kicking, chilling. And, that was me trying to show him that he was a part of the group, that he was a friend of mine. And I don't even know his name, but I liked his videos. And if you go around, and guess what? Everyone talks crap about the show because it takes viewers from this, and they have Patreons and this. And I tell them, you lost already, buddy, because I haven't thought about that once. You lost a long time ago because you stopped stepping up. You stopped being the guy in the room. I think I'm the best at this shit. And I'm not the best at every technical nuance of crypto, clearly. Like, that's not. But I think I'm the guy for the job. And I think I can outwork and outpace people without trying. And then it's important that you find something like that. But motivating people while you go. I went to the store this morning. I could put my head down, put my earphones on, and just say, you know what? I want my coffee. I got the coffee from the nice coffee shop, $3 coffee, whatever. Just trying to switch it up. I just talk to everyone and say, hey, I don't look like you. I'm clear. I'm not working. They all have suits on and shit. But I was just like, how's everyone? What's going on? It's a good time to be alive, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I think you can change the world by doing that very quickly. But what else do? You get people to like you a lot, because you're just a positive externality permanently. You're like a positive cancer. Richard can't hate on me enough because I prop him up every time I can. You know what I mean? And I say, I appreciate, when he blocks me, I say, I appreciate this man more than anyone knows. And guys that are not emotionally fit will take that as a jab. But in reality, I want everyone to know.
The truth.
It's the truth.
Yes. I have a similar, one of the things that I've never told anybody, but I've written down so many times in my journals over the years, is one of the things that I want, the ultimate like end all be all goal that I have, is to inspire, the entire planet, to everybody know who I am, so that I can inspire them. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm journaling about this. I'm like, how do I get the entire planet to know who I am, to be able to impact them, to achieve greater in their own life, how they define success, right? That motivation inside of them, right? How do I get them to just grasp that they are capable enough to do this? And it's always back down to just living the fullest, best life I can live every moment of every day. Like that's all it is. Because if I'm doing my girlfriend tells me this, or friends, they're like, oh, hey man, they call me, and I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm doing this as like, this should be, in my opinion, something what everybody should try to strive for and pursue. I get calls from friends. Hey, you called me out on that shit because I wasn't doing X, Y, and Z. I just want to say thank you, because now they're doing that shit that they weren't doing. And this is multiple different people. Or my girlfriend, hey, I've grown so much since I've been around you, because you're just nonstop fucking be positive and trying to grow and all this shit, right? Because the way to motivate others is by you stepping up in all the areas of life, whether it doesn't matter what it is, in all the areas of life, because then you inspire the people around you to do the same for them.
Yeah,
And you're like,
but if your
"Oh,
ego's in play, this cannot work. And everyone's ego's in play a little bit, but that just keeps you running. But if I'm doing this to buy, and I'm not saying I won't buy something expensive at some point, but I'm saying if I was doing this so I could buy a nice ass car, I would be thinking about the nice ass car. I wouldn't be thinking about what I was doing. People say I'm like I got 4,000 subscribers, nothing crazy doing the show, but the show really impacts a lot of people, and that keeps me going. Like it keeps me going because I understand scaling. I understand people. I understand what people want. They want something healthy, an outlet, something real. And that's what we can provide. But at the same time, if me and Sam's egos were, if I was just go and shower, get my shit all ready, like I'm 100% perfect for the show. Let me shave my face. Let me make sure I did 170 push-ups before, so my traps are just ripped. Yeah, maybe in the beginning I did do some of that stuff. But as I learned and as I grew, I realized what was more important was me having a mission every single day. I need a mission. I need somewhere to go. And my goals are very clear now. And before, getting your goals on paper and getting them clear is one big thing. But then you realize, like Mike Tyson wanted to be a boxer at some point, but now he realizes that all of it was just fluff. And he doesn't really appreciate a lot of that because he felt like he was used, and he felt like he was turned into a bully, and he felt like he was on drugs and all these things, and people were using him to cog in the wheel kind of thing. And he does a lot of drugs and kind of in hindsight just says like nothing was all human. I remember he said all humans were put on this earth to motivate others. Men are just put on earth to motivate other men, period. And he was mentioning this, and then he says, my life is just motivating men now. And that's all he does. And I think that's a big part of the show. And I kind of forgot where I was going with it.
Yes, and in several minutes, I've got one thing that, like, if you take this and you implement this, it helps all the other areas of your life that I want to get into, where you create this one habit, and it's not something that's extremely like time consuming or effortful or anything like that. But this one thing is really, really, really powerful that you can start to implement into your daily. Hey, I've seen, I know this is not necessarily a topic, but JB and several other people have brought up Chat GPT. We were talking about this before we came onto the show. It's been in conversations in the daily in my personal life. If you have not played with Chat GPT, if you're not learning how to communicate with AI, you are leaving so much opportunity on the table. Back in 2012, back in, say, 2005, when Google AdWords came out, if you understood how to run Google ads and how powerful that was, or Facebook ads and how powerful that was, you could easily add multiple zeros to your net worth. You're like, I'm already worth 2 million. Yeah, you could be 200 million, right? And the same thing is going to happen with AI. It's a skill to be able to understand the prompts, how to engineer your question or series of questions to be able to get out, to be able to create, to be able to use the AI to be able to achieve whatever it is. One way to think about this is a piano, to me, is worth this much. It's a tool, right? But it's worth this much to me. Chat GPT, which is going to have 2.0, which is going to be other things are going to come out around this. I'm just using this as an example, but think AI. That same piano that's worthless to me, to Elton John, is $1 billion because he knows how to use that tool to create $1 billion. Chat GPT is going to create so many millionaires. AI is going to create so many millionaires and create so much abundance.
Frankly, it already has for the investors. Because I saw some of the numbers on that shit, OpenAI, ridiculous. I've never seen money like that in so quick from when I started hearing about something. And we were talking like $39 billion invested or something like this. And I was like, holy shit. And again, I know how big OpenAI is at this point. I've read enough. But That's a lot of bread, and that's a lot of innovation, and that's a lot of. I can't wait till this gets involved in the crypto world. Why is crypto so great? It's a public ledger, and then you can use math. Because when something's public, everything's transparent. You can then use math instead of closing at 5 p.m. and then rugging everyone for the rest of eternity. Imagine thinking that was going to scale. And now, like I'm surprised they haven't pivoted on that yet. So, Sam, you got a set. Do you have a segment for the people, Sam? Sam and I are in different stages of our journey. Everyone knows this, but we stand for the exact same things: freedom, working hard, finding what you love, and then go die like the rest of everyone. Because that's what I'm going to do, and that's what he's going to do. And we're all on this earth together. You better give it your goddamn best shot. And if you're sitting in your room crying every night because you don't have a girlfriend or any of this stuff, you will remain in that spot until you stop crying. You will remain addicted to drugs until you stop crying. I went to bed every day around 7 or 8 p.m. I have a little bit of emotional turmoil. I don't like that time of the day. I'm like sleepy, but I got like one more thing to do. And I'm like, and you know what I do? I just meditate or something. Like I walk. I'll just walk it out, take a shower, go for a walk. Make sure you don't have that stagnant time where your stupid little brain starts telling you everything's going wrong, because nothing's going wrong. Everything's perfect. You just have to clear away the bullshit and get your ego out of the way. Guys, I'll be on later. I think Gillespie's coming on to watch episode 4 of his the guy who made the documentary. He's in my DMs. Very appreciative of the CITM people for buying his product. And I said, hey, we can get you another 100 buys on that for certain with a little party. Sam, I'm going to transition myself out. Make sure you play the Crypto in the Morning song rather than the CITM intro song. But I'm going to.
One of them is labeled outro, and I just clicked outro, but
the highest one.
Cool, gotcha.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm going to throw some clips up of today's show. Sam's going to talk to you about leadership, LPAI. Who knows what he's got on the agenda today? Sam, I will see you tomorrow.
I wanted to talk about this one habit that if you implement in your life on a daily basis will change your life, not just financially speaking, but just how you actually feel. How you will be more successful in your life by changing this, because it changes your mind. And to set this up, I want to think about how we measure things, right? So say, for example, you have this way you're supposed to eat food, right? You believe there's a certain way you're supposed to eat food to maintain or have a lifestyle and or look and or energy or health or vibrance in your life by eating and exercising in a certain way. And say it's somebody's birthday at work and there's donuts there and you have donuts, and then what do you start to do? You start to take a measurement to see that, like, my mind, there's this ideal of how I'm supposed to have my diet. And I just had 2 donuts. And I shoveled that shit into my mouth hole. And you don't feel good, right? Because you have an ideal and you're measuring yourself against your ideal. Or maybe you're like me and you like to write lists, right? And every day you write a list for work about the things that you want to accomplish or do for yourself. And life goes on. And by the end of the day, you did 1 thing on your list, right? Or maybe 3 things on your list, and you have a list of 20 things to do. And you look back at that and you're like, damn, I had all day today. And I was doing that other thing or effing around here, wasting time there. And you're thinking about that, right? And you create those feelings in you. Now you create this one habit, right? The ideal is accomplishing that whole list. That ideal is eating that certain way with your diet to live your lifestyle. Maybe the ideal is not arguing or creating tension or bad environments in your home with your wife and or kids or relationship that you're in. That ideal is similar to the horizon. Take a second and look out the window or if you're driving or whatever, look outside. You can see the horizon, right? The furthest point away. That is the ideal in your mind as an analogy. You can see out this window. I get to see how far away the horizon is. That's the ideal of how I'm supposed to be eating, how I'm supposed to be exercising, how I'm supposed to be living. That's the ideal of accomplishing all 20 things on my list every single day. And similar to the horizon, your ideal is always in the future. Always. So take this for example. If I walk 100 miles that direction towards the horizon, and then I look up and I look for the horizon, where's the horizon going to be? It's still going to be in the future. And then I take another 100 miles and I walk even closer to the horizon. And then I look up. Where's the horizon going to be? It's still going to be 100 miles away because it's always in the future. So this habit, go through, and I started doing this. I have no idea when I started doing this. I started doing this in little micro habits and like my teens and like without even realizing what I was doing. Change how you recognize things. So instead of measuring the ideal to where you are, look at the past and where you are, because then you change the psychology. When you look at the future and you're like, I should be making millions of dollars, right? I should be making millions of dollars a month right now. And I'm not. Right? There's a gap there. So instead of measuring the gap from the ideal to where I am, measure from the past to where I am. So you get to see the growth. So instead of measuring the gap that your ideal and yourself, which you'll never reach your ideal. If your ideal is, hey, making $1 million a year, when you get there, you know what your ideal is going to be? 10 million. Your ideal will always live in the future. So change this one thing and do it on a daily basis. On a daily basis. Change how you measure your success. Not in relation to your ideal, but in relation to your past. And if you think like, oh, yesterday I did better than today, increase the time frame, because then you create perspective. What was I doing 10 years ago? What have I grown? How have I changed? How have I improved in the last 10 years? Right? And as you do this, you can compress this time frame from 10 years out to maybe 3 years out, to maybe a year ago, or 6 months ago, or 3 months ago. And you do this on a daily basis. You can literally do this in bed right before you go to bed. You'd be like, okay, cool. Let me think about that one measurement thing that was positive, because you can go through and positively measure everything. Your past, as much as you may not want to believe this, your past is all just made up. All of it. And one way you can kind of like think about how your past is made up is that the way you remember your past is fluid, like a river. It moves. So as you move through the journey of life, your past looks different because you're at a different point. Similar to me looking outside the window and seeing what's outside the window versus me being outside of the house and looking out there. I see two different things. Still my past, but one is me sitting here, one of me is outside. So when you go to look in your past and you hear yourself talking shit about yourself and whatever it is that you're working towards or your ideal, think about how you're measuring that thing so you create positives in everything that you do. There's plenty of research that shows that positive people who frame things in a positive way, live longer. They did a study of nurses. I think it was nurses or nuns. And a bunch of nuns, that weren't doing it, and a bunch of nuns that were, and they followed them throughout their life. And the ones who were doing it had a positive like reference on life, lived about 10 years on average longer. So if you just care about your longevity, right, then you can shift how you think about things to measure things in a positive way. This one habit, do it on a daily basis. Instead of looking at my list of 20 things that I need to accomplish and I only knocked out 3 of those 20 things. Look at the wins that I had for the day so that I can put it in a positive way, so that I can measure that in a positive way. Because as you start to do this, as you create this habit in your life, it takes time, it takes effort. But as you go through and do this, you create more success and more joy. How do you do that? Because what happens in your life if you're thinking about the gap, the ideal versus where you are? You're thinking about yourself in a deficient manner. You didn't get there. You're not good enough. You dropped the ball 26 effing times today. I'm doing whatever it is. Now, when you change this and you start measuring relative to where you were 6 months ago or 6 years ago or 6 days ago, and how you improve, and you're always looking for that improvement, you're always looking for that success that you created, what happens? You create more success because you've changed your mindset about the way you view the world. And what does success breed? Like the happiness or joy or fulfillment or forward momentum in your life. And before you know it, you have month after month after month after month after month after month that is successful. And then it turns into years of success. You have year after year of success because you're living in that time period. You're living in the moment that is success because you're creating success instead of creating that failure mindset, creating that gap mindset. Live in success by measuring it against the past, measuring against the other thing, and looking for those positive moments. So if you guys liked this, or you thought this whole entire show was valuable, take a second. There's a little arrow down below. Share this out with some other people that you think can get value from this. This way, you're helping them out. You're helping us out, and it would be super appreciated. And if you want to catch us the next show, it'll be tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST. We'll see you then. Peace.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stay. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way.